you weren't involved in any of that, but is he good to go now, or are there any additional penalties
Nope.
for him?
All good to go. I mean, obviously there's residual effects, right, when you miss things, and so he's got to earn some respect and build some trust back, and get back to where he was, obviously position and things like that.
And a couple other incidents throughout the summer here, a couple of guys. Do you think that's just case by case, or do you think there's something that maybe wasn't there for some of them? Or?
I don't know. Again, that's the things we're continuing to evaluate, right? I mean, in your first year, you're always trying to see, okay, where are our shortcomings and where are the things that we need to do a better job of. So where these things come up, I mean, obviously we're going to try to reassess and see what that is. And through the off season, I know for me and myself, we're going to do a better job at making sure we all understand, the parameters, the things, the expectations. But it's also a great reminder, to everybody within the program that, this stuff is very fragile, and nothing is guaranteed to you, if you don't do things the right way. And it's a hard lesson to learn, but that's why we study history too, right? So we're not condemned to repeat it. And I think all those things, we got to find a way to make our program better because of it.
You mentioned up there that you're eager to get to camp to see exactly how things look on the field, and to see if everything you've built to this point, when it starts to look good. Offensive and defensive sides of the ball. What are some of the questions? Not concerned, but just questions.
I think when we're a group that wants to play like 22 guys on the defensive side of the ball, or 22 guys on the offensive side of the ball, the big question comes is, how do people handle that, right? I mean, everybody wants to play, 85, 95% of the snaps. Everybody wants to have the ball so many times, and like when you're not playing all the time, because for our philosophies to know that gives us the best opportunity to play our best ball at the end of the year, to develop, to health and safety of things like that. Sometimes can be a different concept to a lot of people, and Braylon might be one of those ones, right? It's just by nature of it, like how do we handle all those things that I call the human element, outside of just how you play the game of football.
Look, there's a lot of expectations from outside. Do you have to manage that at all, or
I would much rather be able to put things up to say people doubt us. I mean, I love negativity of that sorts, but I said it, and I wasn't kidding. The culture, the nature of the kids that we have, the maturity level, I hope and believe that they've been through some of these situations and they can handle some of this, right? I mean, you got a first-year quarterback, but my goodness, has he been in some of these situations and places and things where, on both ends of it, high and low, and then you got a guy like Muma who was here 5 years ago that, he reminded us was one of his biggest disappointments, I think maybe in 2019, and so he's run the gamut. So we've got some of those guys within the program that can help us hopefully handle whether it's high expectations or negative criticisms.
What's it been like trying to put together a plan for Platteville, and what was your reaction from guys to going down?
I don't know that I actually announced it. I think it kind of started to leak itself out, and I still haven't been there. Like we've done bunches of site visits, and I've got all the pictures and all the stuff, and so I want to be a little bit like them. As all of a sudden, the first time I show up, there's going to be a lot of new to it, and our ability as coaches to adapt and adjust based on, well, our video is over here, and we find a way, right? That's what the game is all about. It doesn't always go perfect when you walk on the field, and your ability to adapt and adjust is going to be important for us as coaching staffs, to our ability to adapt and adjust too.
What have these past couple of days been like for you, just getting away from practice with these three guys and kind of...
So last night was good. I mean, we went out to dinner together, and probably the longest time I'd spent with those three guys, and so that was an awesome experience. To be away from the rest of the team, sometimes I don't like, and you wish you had that opportunity to be with a bunch of guys, but I wasn't kidding when I said it's a great depiction of our program. We got a first-year guy, we got a third-year guy, we got a fifth-year guy, and that kind of sums up our team, right? We got a first-year coach, we got a lot of first-year coaches, we got a lot of guys that have been around for a while, and seniors and things like that. And it's all going to be about how do we handle and mesh and come together.
You've talked with what happened at Northwestern, the hazing stuff. I think there's more scrutiny on what goes on at camp and that. The only thing we've ever seen over the years is bad haircut day, generally by the lineman, where we check your board or just a mohawk or whatever. And the kids seem to have fun with that. Is that something you're aware of?
Yeah.
Do you allow it, or have you talked to them about that?
Yes, and I tried to, we learn and study from the things that have happened, and I emphasized and we talked about, look, there's no place for these kinds of things within. I mean, I don't know how things can, but like, we challenge each other every single day, and it's pretty easy to figure out the guys that are all in and not. We put film on and a team movement. We show things, and that's only to make sure we set the standard for what it is we want. We don't need to find out how tough guys are. And just, it's a great reminder to us that things grow and things can get out of hand if you allow it and you don't recognize it. So we've been a part of that before. My own son got his hair cut, and that's when I kind of recognized, like, okay, this is fun, things like that, but sometimes it has too much of a negative effect. So things that we've addressed and things that we will get better because of.
In camp where you have the individual camera and individual players again, just like you did this year, how'd the guys like that most part?
Well, when they looked good on it, they liked it a lot. But I think it creates some anxiety that how you do anything is how you do everything. And that's what you want.
You've talked about walking into a good culture. That's not usually how it goes. When a coach takes a job, it's usually building culture is like number one on the to-do list.
It is.
Easier is a bad word, but does it make it a little bit
I
easier
think
to not have to do that?
There's twofold. I think that there's easy parts of it, then there's hard parts of it. When you have a good culture, when you have things that are, been entrenched for a long time, whether you can call it the offense, like sometimes it's hard to change, even if things weren't as successful, because kids believed in it and things like that. So I think twofold. I think it's really critical as to how you change those things, and you don't ever put down on things that have been successful in the past. So I think it's twofold. I think by having higher end kids that have a high end of maturity and intelligence, it gives you a greater opportunity for them to recognize that change is inevitable. Growth is a thing that's optional, and that's why I said it's been a challenge in both ways, but it's been one that I think that has really helped us all grow.
Are there, heading into, I know it's still a few days away, but are there any players that you're foreseeing going to be limited or miss time at the beginning of camp with any injuries?
I don't think so right now. I mean, I think the guys that have been a little bit longer term, there's some guys as we go in that we'll have to see. I think that we said they might be limited and really monitoring their volume of things, but I think and I hope that we're going to be pretty clean as we get rolling. The Chris Brookses of the world that had a broken leg in spring ball that you hope are going to be, whether it's the first week or so of camp, we'll start to get a lot more action.
What about a guy like Aaron? We ask only because he's had such a long.
I don't right now. Aaron is not one that's probably gonna make it right now. I mean, he's going to be there. He's going to continue to rehab. We've kind of put him on. I say, don't rush things. This guy's got one opportunity on some things that let's see how it goes. So I would imagine he's going to be a longer term guy that we're not going to push to try to get in there.
I think you'll have Jake Renfro.
What's that?
Jake Renfro.
Hopefully Jake will be good to go. It's another one of those guys you're just monitoring volume coming off of a little surgery.
Looks like there's a possibility that Wisconsin is going to have a couple of Saturday night games. Hasn't been announced officially yet, but I guess I just wanted to get your thoughts on the prospect of playing a night game at Camp Randall, and I don't know if you were ever on the opposing side of that.
Oh yeah, I've been on a couple of the opposing sides of night games in Camp Randall, and it's a crazy electric atmosphere. Our kids love night games. Obviously, as a coach, you get into that point where you don't love night games sometimes. You love them at home, but on the road with the travel and things, but it's a part of our game, and if it's good for our kids and they love it, and I'm all for it. I'm not one of those ones that's going to push back on a night game late in the season. Like, look, man, this is about our kids and what's best for them. I'll tell you what's going to be best for our program. So it's exciting. I don't follow it. I don't know a whole lot about it. It doesn't change the way in which we prepare, but it does, change some things obviously for the actual game day.
You guys went out and added a cornerback this offseason, or after spring ball, and then a punter as well. Just your impressions of Nizer and Atticus.
They're going to give us some opportunities, and they're going to create. Nizer is going to create great competition for us, create that depth that we talk about of being able to play defensively, in particular, play 22. And then Atticus is a guy that we got to see what he's got. I mean, he's going to be thrown right into the fire with an opportunity to go compete to be the starter on day one. And he's a little bit older and mature guy. I've had that experience with 3 or so the last few years, even back in Columbus. We had one from the same school, and these guys are mature beyond their years, but there's still some things about the game that they don't quite understand yet. So it'll be interesting.
Talk about the things that kind of exceed your expectations. The outside perception of Wisconsin's always kind of been like, maybe boring is the word that gets thrown around, but do you think that's changed a little bit with just the way you guys have recruited and done some other things?
I hope. I think the biggest thing for me that I want to continue to push the outside perception is that what an amazing school it is. Like the level of what school is and the national recognition that I believe it doesn't quite get. Like within the state and the communities and close, I mean, everybody realizes how phenomenal the school is. But sometimes when you're even recruiting some of these high-end academic kids, this school is phenomenal. And I mean, the opportunities in the long run are going to be amazing. So I think that all kind of goes hand in hand, right? Whether it's recruiting, whether it's just the national brand of the school itself. I hope that that's what this Big Ten and this evolution of what it is that we're doing, we want to continue to push that for us in particular as well.